Hey everybody, it's Mauricio here, founder and CEO of Premier Law Group, your premier syndication attorneys. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the blue sky filings, the Form D that everyone needs to file if they're relying on a Reg D exemption. Been getting a lot of questions about those lately, so hopefully we can make this quick. But one of the beauties of using a Reg D offering or Reg D exemption, and one of the reasons it's so popular, is it preempts state law, which is just a fancy way of saying we don't have to worry about the states other than anti-fraud provisions, right? You still can't, if you're Bernie Madoff and you're swindling your investors, the states will definitely have jurisdiction. And even, you're making some omissions and some misrepresentations, especially when it comes to your pro formas, get a little bit too carried away, they'll have a little bit of jurisdiction there. But in general, as long as we're complying with the federal law and complying with the specific exemption, 506B or 506C, we typically don't have to worry about the states other than filing what's called a Form D. Now, a couple of things about the Form D. Number one, the Form D is due to the SEC within 15 days of your first sale. So we've got my little timeline here. So let's say you have your first investor on day 0, then within 15 days of that first sale, you must file you must file the Form D with the SEC. Now, every time you sell into a particular state, right, you have to file a copy of that Form D with that state within 15 days from the sale in that state. Okay, now it's only one filing per state. So if you have one investor or 100 investors, well, hopefully you don't have 100, but if you have one investor or multiple investors, it's going to be one filing and it's going to be one fee. Now the fees range from, some states don't have any fees at all, and some states like New York have a really hefty fee of about $2,000. So I always caution my clients that if you're thinking about taking somebody in New York, just stop and think about that for a little bit and see if it's even worth spending the $2,000 if all you're taking in is maybe $25,000 or $50,000. But every state has their own filing fees, and so it's very important to stay with those timelines. Now, the penalty at the SEC level, in my opinion, this is just a personal opinion, isn't as huge or isn't as big as penalties at the state level. So there's actually no late filing fee, for example, at the SEC level. So if you file it late, there are potentially some things that could come about, but it certainly will not blow your exemption. The Form D is not a prerequisite for the exemption to be followed. So even if you don't follow a Form D, but follow all the other rules, you are still going to be in compliance with that regulation. But at the state level, there's really two consequences, and I'm much more concerned about the states. Number one, there are late filing fees, for sure. So most states that charge you to file will charge you, some kind of a late fee, whether it's $100, $200, $300, it depends on the state, right? Couple of states take a really aggressive position, and the ones that come to mind really are Wisconsin and South Dakota, but I know there are others. Those are just the two that I've been dealing with lately, that if you file that late, you're going to get a nice letter from the state claiming not only that you filed it late and you owe them whatever fees you are, but that you might be subject to huge penalties. And when I say huge, I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars, and you may have blown your exemption according to them. Now, again, in my opinion, the states are wrong, even though when they take that aggressive position, and that you do not blow your federal exemption, and you certainly don't blow the state exemption because the feds preempt state law. But even so, you don't want to have to go through that process of dealing with the states. You obviously need to respond. They're going to send you the letter. You're going to have your attorney prepare the response, gather the documents, send it back, and there's just going to be time and money that's being spent and consumed going back and forth with the state. And in some cases, the states do issue cease and desist or will prevent you from being able to sell into their state in the future, because failure to file a Form D, they can do whatever you want. So if they may be able to prevent you from filing in Colorado or California, whatever state you were late. So please, please, please take this seriously. It's 15 days. I know when you work with us, I've got my good friend Mike who's just pounding you day in and day out, making sure we get those filings in time for the Reg D. But it's not something to take lightly just because it doesn't blow your exemption. It's still part of the deal. You've already closed, you're kind of excited, or you're in the middle of the raise, but don't ignore it. Pay attention and make sure you get those filings in within 15 days. Hopefully it's been valuable, and looking forward to sharing some more content with you in the near future. Thanks.